fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and I resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What we gonna eat no money, what we at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss away in the yellow rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste for most of the statue. Say me like a catch you, but they got enough, they got you. Take the skin from money, gal and say that it's not you. One day the man above me up, him I got up. Too much eating at the kitchen, some a fly by like a patu. My singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% free.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption please.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and I resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The already promises none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rap and they down in our river. Member bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the sun man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat policeman.
It burn me.
Or them a treat soldier man.
It burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't.
Stibby dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love Lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. How are you? The liar is in Parliament speaking at the moment, and he's talking about things to do with the hurricane. He's rather on JIS. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
150 million Jamaican dollars.
Hold on.
An important point to note.
You go and listen till I get him up past brain.
NWC was never developed along the lines of providing its own independent power supply. Indeed, the NWC is the largest customer of the JPS. But as we
when I hear him, let me know in the comment, please. When I hear the criminal,
we try to give resilience,
let me know if I hear the criminal.
the government has taken the decision that critical pumping stations for the NWC must have their own backup. And the first assessment towards this is the government will have to spend $750 million to acquire these backup generators. And we will continue to do this exercise until the entire NWC system has its backup capacity and capability to continue the distribution and production of water, even if the main electrical utility fails. Additionally, trucking of water to the most affected areas
You don't have to
continues.
listen to the
As
lie.
we all know, this is the most inefficient and expensive method of water distribution. The NWC is engaging every available truck to increase its reach to assist, and additionally, they have extended opening hours for loading bays to ensure deliveries. I'm speaking in terms of telecommunications. Flow has reported that as of July 15th, out of a total of 782 sites, 588 are online. Population coverage is at 88% for its mobile network. Approximately 193,000.
Total of 782 sites, 588 are online, and population coverage is at 88% for its mobile network. For its fixed network, approximately 193,000 customers were impacted, and as of July 15, 156,000 or 81% have been restored. For Digicel, 664 sites out of a total of 884 sites are online, and population coverage is now 95%. 140 of the sites are, however, operating on backup generator and need continual refueling. So Madam Speaker, effectively, the NWC will have a backup system in the same way that the telecommunication companies have a backup system. Madam Speaker, both operators, that is Flow and Digicel, have reported that vandalism and theft continue to plague recovery efforts. No doubt, it is just a small number of individuals whose behavior is impacting thousands of Jamaica. Again, I'm issuing a call for these unscrupulous persons to cease and desist from destroying this critical infrastructure that supports our telecommunication utility. In terms of health facilities, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has reported that 82 or 23% of public health facilities sustained major damage as a result of Hurricane Beryl. Major damage in this context means any structural issue that impacts the ordinary running of the facility. Of the total major damage, 41% would be an impact to roofing. Impacts to windows and doors, as well as electrical supplies, were also among the major damage reported. Of our 26 hospitals, 64% are back to normal operations, 20% are operational, but with some challenges that may impact comprehensive operations, with the remaining 16%, that is 4 hospitals, still operating emergency services only. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health has developed a phased recovery plan, with phase 1 bringing operations in all facilities to full recovery. This is expected to cost $1.7 billion and to be completed within 6 months. Phase 2 includes repairs to parts of buildings that have been damaged but do not directly affect normal operations. This is expected to cost approximately $2.2 billion and should be completed within 6 to 12 months. And phase 3 will be focused on making facilities resilient to natural disasters and meet business continuity standards for health. This is expected to be completed in 24 months. And this business continuity standard, effectively, Madam Speaker, would be similar to what we're doing for NWC, which is to ensure that we have backup systems for electricity, oxygen generation, refrigeration, all the backup systems needed to ensure that the hospital can continue to offer critical services within a disaster. Madam Speaker, another major focus of the Ministry of Health and Wellness at this time is dengue mitigation. And as we had mentioned previously, the NSWMA and the NWA is technically involved in this dengue mitigation by trying to clear the environmental conditions that would create the growth in the vector. But we have made a specific
allocation, an initial allocation of $300 million to the Ministry of Health to conduct fogging and other kinds of vector control in the next 6 weeks. With the passage of Hurricane Beryl, there is a potential for a significant increase in the dengue vector. The Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds primarily in containers, is the main vector. We know that many communities are being plagued by increase in the mosquito population, and not just mosquito, but with other vectors, in terms of roaches and rats and flies, and therefore the cleanup and removal and clearing waterlogged areas is of critical importance. The hot summer condition, along with rainfall, will further continue to increase the possibility of an increase in these vectors and therefore the increase in the transmission of diseases. So, Madam Speaker, I now make a public appeal to all Jamaican households. I know many households are storing water. Some are catching the rainwater. Some have tanks and blue barrels. Many don't have a choice where they have to fill from the truck. But you do have a choice whether or not you leave these containers open or you close them. So I would encourage all homeowners who are storing water and you are leaving the containers open, that an easy way to control the growth of the mosquito population in your household is to cover the containers. Cover the containers. Another simple exercise, Madam Speaker, is to walk around your surrounding, walk around your yard, your home, and every container that you find, any old tires, any abandoned stove or refrigerator, you should, first of all, for containers, bore the containers if you don't intend to use them. Turn them down if you intend to use them. And for the bulky waste, you should pay keen attention to when it is announced that the NSWMA will be coming around to remove bulky waste and have those placed outside for take-up by the NSWMA when the bulky waste removal program is announced. Madam Speaker, the NWA will also be very active in the cleaning of various gullies to ensure that there is no breeding in the gullies, whilst you may not have the breeding of the Aedes aegypti mosquito in the gullies, but there are some other types of mosquitoes, some larger ones, that might attempt to lift you up.
The Bill Gates mosquito
that we should also try to control. So, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health will therefore be engaged in an extensive fogging and larviciding program. And it means that communities should pay attention to the announced schedule. They usually ask that when the fogging is taking place, that you open your doors and windows to allow the chemicals to find its way into the various areas where the mosquitoes may be living. But of course, if you do have health problems, then you should take precautions such as covering your nose and mouth and avoiding being in the area if the fogging is taking place. In terms of schools, Madam Speaker, an extensive assessment undertaken by the technical team of the Ministry of Education and Youth has revealed various levels of infrastructure damage to schools, ranging from minor to severe. As at July 11, 2024, 212 schools have been identified as being impacted by the hurricane. 64 schools have been severely damaged, which may affect their reopening. We're going to work very hard to ensure that no school is affected in terms of not being able to be reopened, but the damage that has been identified for 64 schools could potentially affect their reopening.
57 schools have been moderately damaged and will require significant repairs, but they are likely to be able to be in operation by the time schools are reopened. 91 schools have suffered relatively minor damage and can operate while repairs are done. Madam Speaker, the preliminary estimate of cost to carry out repairs and reconstruction activities on the schools is 1.9 billion Jamaican dollars. Madam Speaker, I've already provided an update on the restoration. Well, we can skip that part.
Hey!
So, Madam Speaker, I want to now give you an update on other elements of the recovery process. Distribution of food and essential supplies. This is from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security has been distributing care packages containing tin food and rice and other food items through their network of social workers. To date, the ministry has provided 9,005 food packages, 1,910 tarpaulins, 676 mattresses, 1,243 hygiene kits, and 415 cases of water to affected households. In terms of housing reconstruction, Madam Speaker, a total of 5,153 household damage assessment has been completed. Details of the number of assessments completed by parish is outlined in the table. Well, I'm going to say what that table is shortly. So for Kingston and St. Andrew, 4 houses have been assessed as totally destroyed, 15 severely damaged, and 68 minor damage, and that would be 87 assessments done so far. In St. Catherine, 13 houses totally destroyed, severely damaged 146, minor damage 254, for a total of 413 assessed so far. Clarendon, 153 totally damaged, 617 houses severely damaged, and minor damage 493, leading to 1,243 assessments conducted so far. In Manchester, 20 houses totally destroyed, severely destroyed 141, minor damage 114, a total assessment of 275. In St. Elizabeth, 23 houses totally destroyed, 392 severely damaged, 349 minor damage, leading to an assessment of 764 assessment so far. St. Elizabeth still has a way to go for assessments to be complete. In Westmoreland, 43 houses totally destroyed, 171 severely damaged, 161 with minor damage, leading to a total assessment of 375. In Hanover, 32 houses totally destroyed, severely damaged 134, minor damage 116, leading to a total assessment of 282. In St. James, 19 houses totally destroyed, 148 severely damaged, 89 minor damage, leading to a total assessment of 256. In Trelawney, 8 houses destroyed, 100 severely damaged, and 111 minor damage, leading to an assessment of 219 so far. In St. Anne, 0 houses damaged, totally destroyed, 2 severely damaged, 26 reported minor damage, leading to an assessment so far of 28. In St. Mary, 15 houses totally destroyed, 134 severely damaged, 648 minor damage, leading to an assessment so far of 797. In Portland, 6 houses totally destroyed, 75 severely damaged, 231 minor damage, 312 being the total assessment conducted so far. In St. Thomas, 5 houses totally damaged, 46 severely damaged, 51 minor damage, leading to an assessment so far of 102. So in total, Madam Speaker, assessed so far 321 houses totally destroyed, 2,121 severely damaged, 2,711 minor damage, and a total assessment to date so far, 5,153 houses. With the exception of Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth, assessments have been substantially completed, and it is estimated that assessment in these three parishes, that is Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth, will require another week to complete. To get that assessment done quickly, we have deployed the DART team, that is a disaster assistance and recovery team from the JDF. There are some volunteers from various church groups, and the Ministry of Local Government has said that they will deploy over 200 summer youth workers to assist in the process. So we expect that within another week, we should be complete with the total assessment of housing damage. So, Madam Speaker, the various social programs managed by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security will be leveraged and utilized to provide a range of assistance to the affected population. So under the rehabilitation grant program, grants will be provided to micro-business operators. I use the term micro-business operators. To the small shops that were affected, that were totally wiped out their stock because of the hurricane. Madam Speaker, just to be clear, every grant must be assessed. So somebody will have to come. You will have to be able to show that you actually had a shop, that you had a fridge, that you had damage. This is not going to be a general grant that, you know, everybody can apply for. And I want to make that absolutely clear, that you would have had to suffer loss, and the loss must be assessed, and then based upon the assessment, a grant will be approved. And I will leave the further details to the Minister of Labour and Social Security to explain how this process will be implemented. So we are allocating for this 200 million Jamaican dollars to get back our small operators, shops, and, you know, small micro enterprise within communities, to get them back up and running. In terms of the national insurance scheme, the life certificate requirement for August payments will be waived generally across the island, so that will help in the quick access of pensions. Through the assessment process, the ministry has increased targeting and identification of beneficiaries for its programs to include social pension and the Jamaica Council of Persons with Disabilities and Senior Citizens. So, Madam Speaker, in this period, whilst the Ministry of Labour and Social Security team is out there doing assessment, we are also trying to identify the persons who should be on the social pension but are not on the social pension. So we will use this as an exercise to get more people on the social safety. Based on the damage assessments received to date, an allocation of 1 billion Jamaican dollars has been made towards providing grants and assistance for restoration, reconstruction, and relocation. Let me repeat that. Based upon the damage assessment, we have allocated $1 billion to provide grants and assistance for restoration, reconstruction, and reallocation. The conditions that we have agreed is that all potential beneficiaries must be assessed. So, yes, there will be persons who have damage, but not every house that is damaged will qualify for grants for restoration, reconstruction, and relocation. Every beneficiary must be assessed. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security will explain further what the criteria is. The criteria, we we have established them, but we haven't finalized them. And we can't finalize them until we have the full assessment, because you want your criteria to match what you have assessed. In other words, you wouldn't want to have a criteria that doesn't fit what you have actually observed in the field. So clearly, income is going to be a parameter that will gauge who qualifies. And for persons who have income, there are programs which I will announce shortly that will explain. And of course, if persons with insurance. Now, Madam Speaker, a standard grant, this is very important, will be assigned to the classification of damage. So we don't want a situation where one person gets X here and then in another parish with the same damage, someone gets X plus Y. What we want is a stand, which is why we are waiting on the completion of the assessment so we can properly categorize the damage and then assign a grant amount to the classification. The other criteria which must be fulfilled by all beneficiaries is that they must be properly documented and they will be placed in a single database. Madam Speaker, in a crisis, you cannot have double dipping. You cannot have someone come and get a benefit under this program and then come back and get a benefit under another, and then somebody else gets
what
nothing.
If you qualify as somebody
who
you
totally unfair. So everybody goes into a central database. And while I'm saying this, Madam Speaker, for the MPs who are assisting using the funds, the CDF will require that you submit the names of persons and possibly their TRN as well, so that we are able to cross-match, right? Because you wouldn't want somebody to come to you, you give them a grant, and then they come and get, no, that's
a yardstick of bureaucracy.
That is going to be problematic.
A yardstick of
This is not to say that you can't get another benefit if the first benefit didn't get you up. But what I'm saying is, in this phase, let us make sure that everybody gets something.
So what if
and then if there is further need assessed, then we go and help.
Judgment.
Madam Speaker,
I will explain that. And that
in terms of assisting with livelihood, I'm sure that the Minister of Agriculture will, in his presentation, explain a little bit more about how that will be done. But I want to just say that I have asked the DBJ to assist our poultry farmers. Very important.
Full assessment coming up.
Very important. Just to be clear, the Minister of Agriculture will speak to how we are going to assist the small farmer, the subsistence farmer, the small poultry farmer who is doing, 200 chicken in their backyard. What I'm discussing here would be to ensure that the large poultry farmers who have sustained damage, that they have access to a loan facility, not a grant, a loan facility to get their businesses back up and running. So, Madam Speaker, the hurricane and the impact on the poultry industry, the DBJ will provide a $1 billion line of credit to unlend to the broiler companies and or approved farmers. And Madam Speaker, the broiler companies will provide a guarantee to the DBJ. And the interest rate to the broiler companies will be about 7.5%. And the broiler companies who have these contracts with the farmers would make the payments. The tenure would be about 8 years, and we would lend approximately 9.
I chose Wix for my business because of its massive scope for functionality and.
Speaker, 1 billion Jamaican dollars. This is very important for our food security and to ensure that there is no shortage of chicken, which could impact price. And that's very, very important. I stress, however, Madam Speaker, that the Minister of Agriculture in his presentation will announce how we will provide grants now for the small chicken farmers who are the backyard chicken farmers, or even some larger ones who are not connected to
Me not hear no number near to it.
Madam Speaker, I want to spend a little bit of time speaking about the NHT, because there are some persons who have sustained damage but wouldn't necessarily qualify for grants. And the NHT is the main entity through which we will seek to provide assistance to those persons. So, Madam Speaker, the NHT has a multi-pronged response to support the immediate recovery efforts for persons directly impacted by burial and to bolster the long-term disaster resilience of communities. There is the peril insurance for NHT mortgages. The NHT will give a moratorium for NHT mortgages, and there is a special home improvement loan for roof and home repairs due to the hurricane. And we will also give a special home grant for vulnerable NHT contributors who sustain damage in the wake of burial. So for the peril insurance for NHT mortgages, all NHT mortgages are covered by the NHT's blanket house owners comprehensive policy, which includes coverage for damage caused by but not limited to fire, hurricane, windstorm, storm, tempest, cyclone, tornado, hail, full flood, and impact damage, however caused. Thus far, the trust has had a number of inquiries and claims in the wake of Hurricane Beryl. The NHT has mobilized its branches in anticipation of this and is prepared to process the claims that may be submitted by mortgagors in the coming days. Again, every claim that is submitted has to be assessed, and I can't stress enough that a disaster does not suspend accountability.
Hey! What?
In terms of the moratorium for mortgagors who have been affected by Hurricane Beryl and may need to prioritize urgent repairs to their property may apply for a brief moratorium of 3 to 6 months. This arrangement may facilitate some reprieve for persons recovering from the impact of the storm, especially as they prepare for back to school. Note that this special moratorium arrangement for mortgages impacted by the storm must be applied for. It is not a general moratorium. And of course, again, there would have to be an assessment of the impact on your income and your ability to recover from the impact of the storm. So, Madam Speaker, again, for those persons who have been impacted, but they may have a current difficulty, they may have been laid off, for example, because their job, their workplace was impacted by the storm. They could apply to the NHT for a 3 to 6 months moratorium whilst they get their affairs in order. So that is another way in which the government is going to help. The NHT will facilitate a special home improvement loan for existing NHT mortgages to assist in necessary repairs and home improvements to improve disaster resilience. This is a special facility aimed at supporting mortgagors who may need to supplement insurance arrangements in order to adequately complete repairs. This facility is also intended to support NHT contributors, including those who do not currently have a mortgage but may have suffered property damage due to hurricane. So, Madam Speaker, we have this special loan window, and we are encouraging those persons who suffer damage, who may not qualify for a grant from the government, to use this special loan window for the repair of roofs or your home. Then, Madam Speaker, we're going to give a special grant for vulnerable NHT contributors. Will provide a grant for contributors who sustained damage to their homes in the wake of Hurricane Beryl, and they can apply for a special home grant to assist in home repairs. This grant will be available subject to need and level of impact. Both contributors and mortgagors may apply. In addition to these measures, the NHT is also committing to support the national recovery effort, and the NHT will contribute $200 million to the restoration, reconstruction, and relocation. So there are, Madam Speaker, a raft of measures. Yes, there's a raft of measures to support the recovery, and the NHT is playing its part. So the NHT, just to be clear, Madam Speaker and members, the NHT will provide a grant to both mortgagors and contributors who apply, but who are assessed as being in need of the grant. But outside of that, the NHT will provide $200 million to the national restoration, reconstruction, and relocation. So the government has put $1 billion, and the NHT is helping us with $200 million. So we will start the rollout of this by latest next Tuesday, and you will hear further from the Minister of Labor and Social Security as to the criteria and how this will be done. So, Madam Speaker, may it please you, and thank you, members, for your attention.
Jesus.
Would you be so kind as to turn
off your The Honorable Sensible Mark Golden is going to speak, and we should listen to the Honorable Sensible Opposition Leader. Then
thank you, Madam
start
Speaker.
the war after that.
The Prime Minister has given an overview of the current situation, which is an evolving situation as further assessments are being done. It is clear that Jamaica sustained a severe hit, especially in certain parishes that were particularly exposed, the southern coast in particular, but also even some of the parishes on the north coast got severe damage as well. Prime Minister, the lessons to be learned from this are very important, because we are in an era of global warming, and the conditions on Earth are such that it is expected that we will see more of these kind of severe weather events. And of course, this particular hurricane was unusual insofar as it intensified more rapidly than has been seen before, and is earlier in the season than we've ever seen before for a hurricane of that intensity. So we need to learn from what has taken place and prepare for what may come in the future. So one thing I would say, though, to begin with, Prime Minister, is that I'm a little distrustful of the data, or I wouldn't say distrustful, skeptical is a better word, skeptical of the data on the extent of the recovery that has so far been achieved. The reason being that when you're looking at percentages of customers who are once again being served, it isn't that meaningful, given that as a percentage of the overall customer base, given that the major population centers of the country were relatively unscathed. by this hurricane. But in large swathes of communities in parishes across Jamaica, people are still without electricity and many are without water. I mean, in our own assessments that we were submitting today through the opposition spokesperson for energy, you know, the list of communities that are still without water is extensive, and without light, it's extensive. And I noticed that you said, well, sections of this community or that community, light has been restored, but there are many sections of those communities which are still not yet having light. So I think we don't want to overplay the extent of the recovery, because for people on the ground who are seeing, you know, the extent to which people are still without light, it's kind of grating to hear these very generous numbers, 90% and so on, you know, when people are seeing so many communities and so many homes still without light. I just want to make that point. In terms of resilience, Prime Minister, we need to, I think, hear from the JPS as to what their plans are to make their distribution system more resilient. I mean, there were many instances of posts and poles that were damaged, not because of tree damage or whatever reason. Maybe they weren't sufficiently anchored in the ground, they snapped for whatever reason. You know, if they're going to be drawing down on funds, as I understand it, there's a disaster fund that is accessible to the JPS for restoration of the damage. There's a portion of self-insurance that they have to pick up, but above that, there's a fund that the OUR, basically 50 million US, is the amount of that fund. Now, we want to make sure that that fund is funded by customers. That is funded by rates that people pay over time. So we want to make sure that those resources are used in a way that will maximize resilience going forward. Yeah, that's very important, you know, so that when the next severe breeze blow comes, we don't have the extensive damage that we had this time. And because that 50 million, of course, to the extent it's drawn down now, it will take some time to replenish because it has built up over years. Right? So we need to be very judicious in how we use those resources, JPS in particular. Prime Minister, the resilience of the National Water Commission's distribution system, the pumping stations, and you know, one of the lessons from this is how important it is that the key elements in the distribution system have backup power. You know, you know, while we're drawing down on insurance resources or quasi-insurance resources through the CRIF and the funds that have been set aside out of the budget, these are the kind of expenditures which we should be putting in place to make sure that when this happens again, the water supply is not adversely affected in the way it is now because by electricity not being available, because those key pumping stations across the country have their own backup. And those need to be adequately scoped and spec'd. I was checking out for an overseas group of Jamaicans who are interested in helping with this in St. Elizabeth. You know, what would be the necessary scope for a generator for one of the major pumping stations? And of course, when you looked at it, it's very technical as to what the needs are. So we need to make sure that that work is done so that the right things are purchased and will be effective going forward. Prime Minister, similarly, health facilities. One, it's kind of shocking to hear that so many of our health facilities, residential and other health facilities, when I say residential, i.e. with beds for inpatients, are without backup power supply. You know, that is another area where this is an opportunity to remedy that. And that we would love to see as much as possible that all our health facilities are provided with backup generators that are adequately scoped so that they can continue to serve patients even after a disaster such as this.
Thanks, Opposition Leader. House Leader,
I'm really
the members' time for speaking. You know, opposition time.
3 minutes.
Madam Speaker, the opposition leader's time having been expired for speaking, I beg to move that it be extended by 5 minutes to allow to complete his presentation.
Question is that the opposition leader's time be extended by 5 minutes to complete his presentation. Those in favor? Those against, the ayes have it. Opposition leader.
Thank you, House Leader. Thank you, Madam Speaker and colleagues. So, looking at the issues that you've raised in your presentation, Prime Minister, we're very anxious to see what is proposed for the housing restoration work. Clearly, those who are NHT contributors and can access one or other of the NHT facilities, we're glad to see that. And we hope that NHT will be efficient and in the way in which they activate and make those accessible to their customers and share information so that their customers know about it. But for many who have been impacted, at one extreme, having had their houses totally destroyed, or somewhere else on the spectrum, extensive roof damage or other damage, and who may not be able to access NHT resources, they'll be looking to the state for assistance. And the methodology of how that criteria is established, the different categories, the eligibility for it, the method of distribution of the resources, how that will be done, and whatever factors would be disqualifying from persons who may have suffered that damage. Those all need to be very transparent, and we want to hear from them as soon as possible. These people have now been for 2 weeks without housing, and we need to get this on the road as quickly as possible. So urgency is critical at this time, Prime Minister, and I'm glad to hear that there will be linesmen coming. You mentioned Belize and Cayman to help the JPS. I think the Minister of Energy had mentioned to us after, in a conversation, possibly Guyana as well, and I think he mentioned one other territory, and possibly the US. The next few weeks, the longer that this absence of electricity continues, the greater the agony and the greater the frustration of the people who are living without it, especially when they know so many other people have light and they don't get it yet. So we really need to intensify the effort to restore the electricity system as quickly as possible. I will just close by, again, pledging our support to the restoration efforts. We will continue to make suggestions. We will continue to criticize where we think things are not being done the way they should. But any criticism is constructive and is seeking to improve the overall effort. We want Jamaica to get back on its feet as quickly as possible. The damage to the economy of this whole exercise will be significant. Things have slowed down as a result of this hurricane, and we need to recover as quickly as possible so that we can continue to grow the economy and manage the public debt down and all those things that both sides have been committed to for so long. So thank you, Prime Minister, and we look forward to continuing updates as time goes by.
Oops, sorry. Sorry about the sound. Let me start over. You have just heard the Prime Minister. You now realize that Jamaicans will not get any assistance. Jamaica will have to rebuild on their own. My sound should be back now. Jamaica will have to be built. A lot of what I planned was to discuss tonight, I'm going to have to leave until in the morning. My son not come back yet? Okay, sound back. I'm going to leave some of my things them clean in the morning. Oh, no, just heard the Prime Minister. And you just hear say, Jamaica people nah go get no help. Imagine this assessment, this bureaucratic assessment, where you hear the Prime Minister, everything have to be assessed and blah, blah, assessed. You know, this is going to be done by one social worker per constituency, Pernell Charles Jr. Are you aware of that? The social worker we still can't get around the country yet. We can't get around the constituency to know. One social worker can manage to get around to that. Have you now realized that the people of Jamaica is not going to get any help? Loan. We have we received the Caribbean insurance. What we are paying how much a year for? Us the taxpayer, you know. Us the taxpayer pay for that insurance. The UN give money. Britain give money. America and Canada give money. The EU give money. How we getting at the loan galang, sir? How we getting at the loan? So wait, the Jamaica people taxpayers money. All right, make it look say you never get the hope of big money from war yonder. Make me say you never get that. And this effort is funded out of taxpayers' pocket. You take up taxpayer money, lend taxpayer prime minister. In our time of disaster, prime minister, when taxpayer have lose so much, you take up taxpayer money, lend taxpayer. Me no hear nothing in a trillion like one of thief issue this evening, you know. I don't hear the trillion. You know the trillion one a thief in a one and a thief, criminal gunman prime minister. Yeah, your bad man them. Can you go send your bad man them come for me tonight? Loan. Jamaica people, did you hear that? I lend the prime minister, I go lend you know, and I go pay interest by it. Oi? Did you hear? Did you hear say if your house and your shop mash up, you're only qualified under one support? We can't give you back house and shop. Choose this day. Which do you want? House or shop? Jesus Christ, Jamaica. Out of the beg and free money them. Choose between your house and your shop. Remember, say you not go pay back the money them in the prime minister. Even the one them want a thief, you not go pay back. You not go pay back no money to the foreign people them in the prime minister. So when you lend Jamaica people money, prime minister, whether they are out of the get money or out of the taxpayer money, what you do with the get money? Wasn't it me who told you the other night? Just like how you give your friend 650 million out of the NHT budget. You have to divert money out of the NHT budget and assist people who have housing damage. At least you take one of my idea, but you not implement it good. Can you walk and lend people them own money? Prime Minister, I ungo uno thief so. Me never know say people could have take up people own money lend them. And our bank money we are talking about in the Prime Minister. We not talk about bank money here. We're talking about taxpayers' money, taxpayers' insurance, relief given to taxpayer, to Jamaican's Prime Minister by international donor. How you get fair lend with money? We might as well go borrow from the bank and get on with it because the bureaucracy, Prime Minister, where we are going to have to go to and choose between the house and we shop, which one we get help with. Plus, we're going to go thief out of it before we get, and we going to have to pay back one or thief in an interest. Jamaica, We don't rise up. I see some discoordinated protests going on around the country. Jamaica, come on board. Come on board. It needs a coordinated protest. Everybody around the country protesting at the same time. The little 1122 pian pian yan yan. It is time for the country to have a coordinated protest. We can't sit down so. We can't sit down so. I have update on the wheelchair phone, you know. But I have so much to discuss tonight. Some of you go left till the morning because we did have to listen to the Jankro. But this is a story I can't until the morning because I want to pop out of the strand here out of Fimi and out of a favor now. Tonight. Carlos Gray is still there. I wonder if the teacher them. You there, Carlos Gray? I wonder if the new teacher them will come teach with picnic. Are the summer what approved teachers? Jamaica teacher on now rise up. Post them out Jamaica teacher. Jamaica teacher we can't live on no salary. Jamaica teacher we have to run away because of the bad treatment. On now rise up. Are we now based on murder, call us murder? Are we going towards a two-tier system? Is it that call us that these teachers that will be coming in will be somewhat approved? I wonder if there's a long-standing agenda to destroy our education system, figure out few strong-witted teacher them and bring in somewhat approved teachers. Which teacher? I go left from Jamaica. I go left from wherever they come from. Come work for where Jamaica teacher work for where they can't pay taxi fare or lunch money throughout the month to go back to school. So if then so, say them I go employ foreign teacher. Foreign teacher go come work for something we can sustain them in Jamaica and they have to have money to send back a over yonder. So is it that we're going to have a two-tier system where foreign teacher get foreign wages and Jamaica teacher get poor relief wages? Jamaica teacher, not rise up. Not say road figure up and go shout. Say we are not having it. Not in our country. How much you are going to pay them where you employ from foreign for? Who you think are going to come here, carry bread and butter and sugar and water go to school for lunch? You know, see how we police them weak with the cocoa bread and bag juice where they have to rely upon for lunch. Ask Hunts be a police if one of them one alive life, boy, yeah. A coming road. Ask Hunts be a police. Kingston 11 we're coming round. Ask Hunts be a police. Jamaica teacher, no see what I want. No, sir. The government run out with teacher them out of the country. With government, I go employ foreign teacher. They can't teach with picnic them. I wonder if them are going to come from the Philippines or from Wadarines or Mudasines or what's the other reins or India. I wonder if that plane load of people who came from India the other day who was just thrown into the country to do what they want to. I wonder if they came to sneak into our teaching system by the black market. You never know. But before I go on to Kingston 11, I'll open a conspiracy that I have. Somebody asked a question earlier on when the Prime Minister was speaking. What does relocation mean? what does relocation means? That brings out my conspiracy. I wonder if Joe Biden or Bill Gates and Andrew Holness, because Bill Gates is a climate change freak. Andrew Holness is a bend over for those on high. I wonder if, and bear the word relocation in mind, I wonder if Bill Gates and Andrew Holness could have cooked up a storm and hit the south coast of Jamaica. Stay with it. Hit the south coast of Jamaica. By and large, stay with it. Don't run yet. Hit the like button. Don't run yet. Stay with it. By and large, the south coast beaches are not the beaches held by private investors and hoteliers. By and large, those beaches are still open to the public. Keep the word relocation in mind. I wonder if them try to mash up with southern coastline, then them are going to tell we because of global warming become a threat to us living on the coastline. So we need to relocate. And perhaps your uncle, Bill Gates, get farming land, they get hotel land, and you never hear where else they may get. But we're coming round to Kingston 11. Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is leading a gang. Call everybody. The Prime Minister is the leader of a Kingston 11 gang. You heard we spoke on here before about the connection with Pilly Blacks and Andrew Holness. We spoke about Pilly Blacks and Andrew Holness connection. I want to speak tonight about Andrew Holness connection with Olympic Gardens Police Station and Olympic Gardens Police, as well as Hunts Bay. Call everybody up on Mall Road. Mall Road. We don't know nobody from Mall Road. Mall Road people. Do you know anybody from Mall Road? Do you know the police them? The gangsters? The blue overall boy them? Andrew gunman them? From Olympic Gardens? Do you know Andrew gunman them? Gully Bull. No, their name. No, Gully Bull. Come on. Call Mall Road people. Gully Bull. Police. Police. We're talking about, Badman police. License gun uniform police. Call Gully Bull. Helmet head. Call helmet head. Badman police them, Andrew Holness. Badman them. Where Andrew Holness use them to intimidate people at will. Call Blackwood. Blackwood, Helmet Head, and Gully Bull. Andrew Holness gangsters. These gangsters are the ones Andrew Holness use to terrorize Mall Road people. He's been doing it from COVID. But since COVID done, it don't done. Don't have to Pilly Blacks them section. Pilly Blacks can't keep dance, stay daylight. But Upper Mall Road, you're there for turn on a radio up there. And police come lock off your dance. Blackwood. No, Gully Bull. Gully Bull come lock off your dance. You can't keep no dance around them. The young people them, We buy them laptop and a little boombox to do them entertainment and them social media thing or whatever. You and your Holness make your gangster them confiscate the young people them laptop because you want them to get involved in a crime. You don't want them to work. And if they now give extortion to you and your criminal police them, helmet head, lock off every dance par Mall Road. During COVID, the people them in a Andrew constituency where vote Labour can walk up and down Pan Road freely. With your PMP, you can't walk. Andrew Holness is using the JCF to run a gangsterism and a racketeering organization in his constituency, Prime Minister. Are you the receiver of extortion money, Prime Minister? Is Andrew Holness the receiver of extortion money? Cheapside Superstore, Andrew Holness. On Penwood Road, just cross from Palmer Road, Andrew Holness. I who did get shot out there, so. Out there, so wanna go collect on extortion money, Andrew Holness. Are you the receiver, Prime Minister, of extortion money? Why are your police boy them? I go collect extortion money. Are you the receiver of extortion money, Prime Minister? Your police boy them, do they have illegal guns? Just like your bad man them, like Pilly Blacks and Prime Minister. Who is Robert White? Robert White, Prime Minister. Is he a businessman, a drugs dealer, a don man, a gunman? Who is he? What's his affiliation, Prime Minister? To the Hunts Bay Police Station. Prime Minister, who is Robert White? Is he a businessman? Is he a drug dealer? Is he a political affiliate? What's his affiliation to Hunts Bay Police Station? Who owns and runs the canteen at Hunts Bay Police Station? Who's the major supplier of Hunts Bay Police Station canteen for police? Big meal, Hunts Bay Police, only one in a Jamaica live life. Ask Robert White about it. Won't have for lunch. Only don't have to can't pack lunch to work, you know. And only don't have to think about bag juice, sky juice, and cocoa bread and patty. Oh no. Robert White. Robert pepper steak, oxtail, curry goat, stew beef. Isn't that the big lunches? Aren't those the big lunch that Robert White makes sure is served up at Hunts Bay Police Station? Is there any truth to the argument, Prime Minister, that Hunts Bay Police Station and its officers are Robert White gangsters, just like Prime Minister? Olympic Gardens Police Station is your gangsters, your boys who you used to intimidate, your boys who you used to control. In the swelter of all this, Prime Minister, given the bureaucracy you've just explained and the political nonsense of Jamaica, you think PNP I go get none of the rescue and relief money. Or I wonder if Labour is going to get the grant and PNP is going to get the loan. Because that's how you behave in Kingston 11, is it not? As so you criminal behave in Kingston 11. Robert White have a licensed firearm. The gunman them. But because of your gunman friend them, Robert White, Jamaican, Pilly Black, so they go find out who they be. Those are the Prime Minister's friends. Those are the Prime Minister's affiliate, the Prime Minister's leader for a gang in Kingston 11 consists of gunman, badman, and police officers, Jamaica. Oh, we're going to fight crime. How are we going to deal with crime in Jamaica when our Prime Minister is the leader of a gang involving police, badman, gunman, and gunman? The Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, is involved in receipt of the extortion money from Cheapside Supermarket or Minimart or whatever it be. You don't understand what the thing I go? You understand, so we need to get rid of this government, or else the country is going to turn into an awful mess. You don't realize we're in a dictatorship. You don't realize Andrew take over every department of government. Jamaica will not go stand up. When everything mash up, we can't stop it now, you know. But we are wait. We are wait till everything mash up. Look at what has just happened in Jamaica. Your Prime Minister just stood in Parliament and tell you so they're going to loan you money. Money we then get out of insurance. Money we then get out from international donors. Money where your taxpayer money, what should be covering your disaster. Jamaica, don't see where it go. Do you understand? Listen, look how slow it is just documenting the name of people and households affected. We don't get to the money yet. Well, you know, so when them talk thief, it go get slower, you know. Jamaica really understand. So nobody now go really get help. It's all going to turn into politics. Grants. But if you qualify, yeah, so if your house and your shop mash up, you have to choose between which one of the grant you apply for. If you get a grant for your house, then you're going to have to apply for a loan for your shop. Or you're going to have to wait until you can start your shop all over again. You don't understand where to go, Jamaicans? You don't see we're not getting any help. No help now come for we. You see, when this bureaucracy done, the Corrupted Integrity Commission, I can't tell you how much people are the Auditor General Department. I will tell you how much money unaccounted for. Just like how you see Jamaicans across the country not getting the help they need at the moment. These linemen that are coming from various different countries, that should be the government first day. When the government fly around, when the Prime Minister fly around the country. That's what your emergency cabinet should come back to Kingston, come to sit down and call in JPS and say, what I have just seen going around the country, you will need extra support to get the country back up and running in a matter of time. Just like Jamaica never get nothing out of the COVID money, Jamaican nah get nothing. People, that's why I ask, we go fund me pin in the link. Support every community organization who want to say a help to build back with community them, yeah? It now go work with government. We now go get the help from government. We are Jamaicans. We understand. Who come here? I block him. Who no block? Who come here and say something? Who no understand how difficult it's going to be getting anywhere with this swelter of bureaucracy? Man, people, do you really understand where we're going with this nonsense? And nobody now stand up. Nobody now rise up. Them destroy with teacher them. And say them a come tell we now say. Them a go bring in foreign teacher. Come teach we picking of them. For September. Huh? What is happening? Why we're so reluctant to stand up for ourselves? Why are we so dumbed down? Why are we so dumbed down? Which country the teacher them a come from? She says she employed from various countries. Which country? Are these multilingual teachers where their language not first, where their language, their first language not English, where them are going to struggle to teach with children them, or with children are going to struggle to understand them? This is past dark ages, EM. This is gone way back past dark ages. You don't hear your prime minister stand up in your parliament and advise on how to store water in a 2024. 1984, we never have to store water because we standpipe them was always working because we local pump in our community was always working. So we never have to walk and store up water here, there, and everywhere in the way we have to do it now in 2004. Why Jamaica people cannot come together and have a coordinated protest across the country demanding the Prime Minister to go? It gone way past damage right here now, we know. The government come out, come tell we about loan, my people. And I think Mark Golden should be more outraged about the word loan, pointing out the amount of assistance, pointing out the insurance, pointing out the money in the NHT budget, that these are Jamaicans' money, pointing out the disaster fund that is put aside. All of the money there in Jamaica. So how we get in the loan got part of it? How we get in the loan part? And that confused me, that trigger me. A late night, I want to cuss bad word. Can't me have neighbors. But how the loan get in there? Talk the truth if the loan not bad or no. Talk the truth if the scrutiny and bureaucracy where you're going to have to go through to get any help from the government if it don't bad down. If 2 weeks and certain community not, do you know that people like Digicel and others are more effective in supporting the community than government? Some of the people in the private sector, they listen to the Azans. But if you look at people like Digicel and them people there and so on, we got St. Elizabeth got assist. They're more proactive than government.
From Azan Super Center Limited in Crossroads. I have some very dear friends down in St. Elizabeth, and as a result, we saw it within our company that we should try and help the people in St. Elizabeth. My grandson Noah has started a fund, and he's the orchestrating of all of this. So far, we have sent down 2 truckloads with lumber, zinc, generator, chainsaw, water, hammer, nail, you name it. It all went down there. And we are now sending down 2 more trucks with a lot of food stuff, more water, a total value, and all could be in excess of $5 million with the 4 trucks. And I think it's from our heart. It's not for any other reason. We are very compassionate people, and it's a method of us giving back to the people of Jamaica, the people that support us, and we have to help them in their need. I must also tell you it's basically a corporate help. We have gotten a lot of donation from Grace Kennedy, a lot of donation from Amalgamated Distributor, a tremendous amount of bedding and etc. from LP Azar Limited, also Cal's Distributors. It's an effort that we have negotiated and requested of them for donation, and without hesitating, they all came forward. I want to thank them on behalf of the Azan family and the people of St. Elizabeth. May God continue to bless them all and prosper them. Thank you very much.
When you look across social media and what you're seeing, because personally, my community, people like Digicel reach there before the government them with relief effort. You see a more coordinated effort from people within the private sector than these people within government. Colonel Charles and what the other boy they name, the local government one were meant to be a major part of the coordination. Bullshit. Literally, bullshit is going on between these two. To top it off, you have a useless manager in Andrew Holness, an incompetent manager in Andrew Holness. Do you see Jamaica getting any help anytime soon? Darrell Vaz, would you be able to remember Diane Simmet last word, Mr. Vaz? Like how you tell we say we are going to get back electricity about the 5th of August. Would you, Darrell Vaz, in any way remember Diane Simmet last words? That's all I want to ask you. That's all I want to ask you, If you would by any chance, Darrell Vaz, remember Diane Simmet last words. That me more concerned about. We come from country. We know how to store water and rainwater and drink. We know how to catch peony wally, put in a bottle and make touch. What we're more concerned about, Darrell Vaz, it's Diane Simmet last words. You rapist and killer. The private sector and community groups are doing much more than the government is doing. People are demonstrating in Portland. People are demonstrating in Hanover. People are demonstrating in Westmoreland. What we need is a coordinated protest across the country. Use social media wisely, Jamaicans. Use social media to coordinate a protest. When social media coordinate a protest, the protest doesn't have a face. Them can't target a leader. Because everybody out there's no leader. Use social media wisely and stop using it in a bagger fashion. We cannot allow our country to slip further into the dictatorship. We don't know, say all portfolio offices Andrew take over now. The Ministry of Health is a portfolio office now. Where anything at Tufton fi come to the dispatch box. Go speak about the Ministry of Health or one day fi foot, hand and mouth. Don't get better yet. I wonder if Dr. Tufton foot, hand, and mouth still sick. You might never know. Dr. Tufton still has sick foot, hand, and mouth. Because the Prime Minister take over every part of government. Everybody in push out. Everybody penny in take away. And say, make me write it for you. My handwriting better. I have to start going in our government. Why everything or everybody just turn around to the Prime Minister and say, look here, are you one carry come here, so? Are you one do the thief and tell all of the lie and mash it up? Any more lie you go, they go tell a you if you do it. Me not take no more lie out here for you. Go on out there. Go take your lie yourself. Be madness are going in our country. Be madness. Nigel Clark. And Nigel Clark fair come tell you about the money them, the how much I spend your son. And Nigel Clark on the Lord Jesus, deliver us, my God, out of the bandage of Bill Gates picking. Deliver us out of the bandage of Bill Gates and Trump picking. I wonder if that Andrew Holness are going to make nobody shoot at him for boosting popularity because it's working for Trump. Just wondering, Prime Minister. Just wondering. Can you know me love for wonder? You know wondering is my speciality. I mean, just a wonder, Prime Minister, if you're going to make nobody shoot at your nose like what they shoot at Donald Trump is for boots on electability. Me just a wonder. Can you know me love for wonder? I mean, not up wonder. Just like how me wonder what Diane Smith last word was. Or just like how me wonder, I wonder say, if Darrell Vaz and Bobby Montague would have any objection to the sex offenders. Just wondering. You don't know me love for wonder, you know. You don't know me love for wonder. Prime Minister, tell us about the extortion money. The extortion money from cheap side. Where you get, Prime Minister. Where your police and your bad man them are collect. Your bad man them, where you can get to kill people, Prime Minister. When you're too obedient to your one day for that same one, you try to get for silence with. Them a beg you for any call us. So how not take long to catch on to things, so? Baby, me I give them the idea, because we know say a lie. Me I give them, Debbie, me I give them. Because anything happen, we know say a lie. Anything happen, we know say a fake. Call us, all not take so long to catch up. The people them are beg to learn, to get more interest. It's not hard, it's normally what thief does. We don't just have to understand how the banking sector works. What is no words about the GoFund me bank account? Remember, say all of the embassy them are beg to, you know, Carlos. Remember, say the embassy them are beg to. Remember, say Lee Chin are beg to. Lord Jesus. And Jamaica still have to go take out loan. Diasporans, and money can lend Jamaican and make Jamaican pay under the interest. Hello, anybody out in the diaspora who don't have no money can lend Jamaicans and make Jamaicans pay the interest because Andrew Holness and Leaching them stand to gain out of all of this, you know. One don't see the crisis. A natural disaster. But then again, members of it 2 years, Britain sit down how we are yard and sit down and I give a pay. And Britain and EU, America and Canada and everybody, China, India, give Jamaica the money and say, make your people them sit down a yard and get paid till we're ready for let you know out of prison. Not a dime till today day. So we want to sit down and wait. Cousin Myrna, how you do? We want to sit down and wait for relief money for. We not go get a dime. The Prime Minister just still we say we have to choose between we shop and we host. If we shop and we host smash up, we don't entitle to the shop grant and the host grant. You have to choose one. And you have to borrow and you have to hold debt. And they may send bailiff to you. And you may end up have bad credit because the Prime Minister get the free money and the Prime Minister lend you, and because your life mash up, you can't afford it and you can't pay what the Prime Minister interest, you end up with bad credit out of free money. Bad credit. Who alone? Who interest on loan? And me ask Carlos. And me ask why the loan. And me ask the thief them, the money laundering gathering. Uno no sister when I tell you no, so it's a money launderer syndicate. Gather around, gather mother, gather. We don't never remember when Mrs. So when is a money laundering syndicate. A gather around, we'll never hear where they stop. You see, just like how we recently find out how Dr. Tufton did just throw the money so to John, to Dick, to Tom, all both anybody who want money to do anything cash in hand. You don't remember? You don't remember? Kemar, me go answer your question about Nigel Clark. I know nothing new. I know nothing new, Kemar. A long time story. Beat hot off the press. Just bring it back in a public. But I something with upon Jermaine page from 2022 or 2023 from last year. And with the Cliff Galangin from 2002, Jermaine blow Cliff out of the water. Cliff did have to come out and admit to certain things. I know nothing new, but this is why you see them will never argue with people, because whole heap of know them dirty deeds. And this is why you see them create a minister of dance and minister of transgender. And you see where our country is going with the signing of summer, what the destruction of our education system. Then now we hear so the government are going to employ foreign teacher by September. If you can't pay, this is what confused me. A wage and working condition make Jamaica teacher a runway. Now when a teacher come from a foreign country go teach in another, go teach in a foreign country, you have to maintain yourself in that country, and you have a family back home where no doubt you send support to. What salary them are going to manage to do that on? Or is it that we're going to have a 2-tier salary in Jamaica where foreign teacher were used to foreign money and good money, get good money and good price, but Jamaica teacher when not used to nothing and can survive with a little tin mackerel and rice in the container, or a little pasta and tin mackerel in the container, will just have to bounce along. Cousin, you have to build back. You know, so them are going to look upon your house and tell you, say you can't afford it. The government are going to tell you, say, you know, qualify for grant. You qualify for, what name? You qualify for loan. No go borrow no money from the government. For that you borrow from yourself or your family them. Dirty government with them interest scraping and them money. Yes, for that Babs be Minister of Dance and Transgender. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Jamaica people now go get no help. If you listen, the Prime Minister understand, say, when the Prime Minister open his mouth, him always tell a lie. When the Prime Minister open his mouth, him talk to fool people. You would understand there is no help coming to the people of Jamaica anytime soon. It is clear, given how the Prime Minister used in police them at Olympic Garden for terrorize the people them up a Mall Road, all because them are PNP. Then you know, say, the relief and recovery and rebuilding resources is going to be politicized. Labour get grant and PNP have to take loan. Jamaica people, are you going to stand for that? Are you going to let them use disaster to divide us? They will not stay, I promise. Such man don't pay a bill. Carlos, Jamaica people now get a dime, not a penny. When they say bureaucracy, Carlos, if the social member say Pernell Charles department are going to do the assessment for them, something they don't call us. The one worker per constituency, Pernell Charles, you know, Carlos, are them responsible for doing the assessment as to whether you qualify for this grant or that grant or none at all, or you qualify for loan. A thief in Pernell Charles picking it. I go do that in a Carlos. Thief in Pernell Charles with thief 1,200 acre Jamaica people land. Them thief there. Responsible. The amount of dead people where Pernell Charles are going to assess and give money to and take it back as soon as we turn way back. As soon as the dead people them take it out their hand, they have to pass it back game. Me telling the fan where they, this is a money laundering scheme. A money laundering scheme. Billing right around with. Just like how the Prime Minister involved in an extortion money from up a cheap side. A same way the Prime Minister and him cronies them a group up for extort with by taking a donation and loaning it. Loaning donation, Prime Minister, how low can you get? But a son of a go-go wouldn't do any better, would they? Would they, Prime Minister? A son of a go-go, I wouldn't expect much better. You're taking grant, insurance money, emergency risk relief fund, and you are loaning it to the Jamaica people. How low and cheap and thief can this Prime Minister get? And how much more dumbed down and docile can the people of Jamaica get? That one piece of shit cannot take so much liberty, and nobody can turn up and say, enough of this. Enough of this. You now come fake no shooting round you. You now come fake no shooting round you. All if them kill you, you not get no popularity around you. All if them kill you, and we sorry for you, and we miss you. Yes, we will just say bye, move on, I saw it go. I saw it go for everybody. You not get no popularity out of nothing around you. Carlos, them are going to create one whole new rich list of friends because me not think for them bank account belly in our pocket. Good God Almighty, Carlos, as greedy as they are, do you think them pocket bank account or gut can't hold anymore? So then we have to look for a new class of cronies. A new class of cronies to create a new rich class. And no, Lord, and now the government will go buy a vote. A vote, duty-free vote now, you know. Uno new say vote, a buy duty-free, you know. Prime Minister money left over from COVID. Prime Minister thief enough out of the country's budget. And Prime Minister have billions of disaster money, loan relief effort and all sorts to use. Ask yourself, why is the private sector going around the country doing a better job at bringing relief and assistance to the people than the government is doing? Ask yourself that question and tell the teacher them say we're ready for the riot, them to start. A time for somebody stand up and do something. We can't make government come in, come take everybody on the right way and push way out of Jamaica. Then you have some deep batty hole boy I talk about brand Jamaica. Man, you go sit down on a broomstick and move from here about brand Jamaica. Where is it? Anyway, my people, thank you. My program what I did plan for tonight, I will bring it in the morning because I did take out quite after the thief in Lion Flight Green. I thought, but God Almighty, can I listen to more live? We don't want to listen to the liar dirty Flight Green, the drunk rat. Do you want to listen to the liar dirty Flight Green, the drunk rat talking at the moment? Do you want to listen? If you don't want to listen, me I go to my bed because me have enough of these drunk rat for the night because the Prime Minister take money, take donations. The Prime Minister take donations and loan it to the people. Whenever hear something go so, when the son want to hear the dirty Flight Green. I can't believe. You might make me listen a little bit because the junk rat tell a lot of lie about my parish and my constituency. When people are comfy, upset with.
Came on board, but clearly we want to see more. I tell you why we want to see more. Coming from our recent meetings with the GK team, the scheme when it was established was a 2-season scheme with it representing about 6 months out of the year that could be insured. Our last set of meetings with them, we asked them to extend that time frame, and now farmers can get insurance for wind, rain, drought from April all the way down to November. That is in place now. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the farmers who had gone ahead and gotten the insurance, 55 of them are already guaranteed a payout because of wind damage under that insurance scheme. Part of what we will look to do as we craft the full recovery plan is to work with the Ministry of Finance to see how we can look at some resources to help more farmers become a part of that insurance scheme, which is the only one on the market now, which is important so that we can recover quickly and stronger.
You see, it's all about
Mr.
money
Speaker,
laundering.
the task ahead is
Rather
challenging,
than deal
but it
with
is
the
not
relief
insurmountable.
and everything,
Our
they
farmers and
encourage
fishers have
people
always been
to come
resilient,
buy
and
insurance
with
from
support,
them. It's all
they
about
will
money
rise
laundering.
again. This is not just about Hurricane Beryl. It's about building stronger, building a more resilient agriculture and fisheries sector that can withstand further shocks. To our farmers, fishers, and all those in the agriculture and fisheries sector, the nation stands with you. Your resilience inspires us, and your hard work feeds our nation. This journey of recovery will be walked together. Mr. Speaker, I want to again acknowledge the private sector's critical work in the recovery efforts. Allow me to also acknowledge the work of the ministry's team, led by Permanent Secretary Spence, who has joined us in the House today. We know that we can build back stronger. And I say to all Jamaicans, support your local farmers, support your fishers, be part of this national recovery effort. From these challenges, Jamaica will emerge stronger, more united, more determined to build a food secure and climate resilient nation. Together, we will face the future and thrive.
Anyway, my flight green come from the same constituency. And so I'm read when him da funeral. So it's just another funeral reading from Flight Green. If you ever hear Flight Green reading at a funeral, it's exactly his presentation. Anyway, my people, may good favor and blessings go with you. May I go sleep here now. I'm tired. And may I go flush the disgraceful Prime Minister out of my system, because history have proven that Jamaica has been given a real jankro for a Prime Minister. How did we get there where we have a jankro for a Prime Minister? Good night from Global Television.